Hi everybody, old Gare out here at the Fishing Shack. Welcome to this week's Fishing Chums Fishing Report. Boy, we have a dandy for you. Going to be great weather for the upcoming weekend, and the fish are on the move. We've got a lot to talk about. Hey, I want to thank you folks. Over 13,000 viewers this past week. That is awesome. God bless you all. And I want to tell you, for you new viewers, a little bit about myself. My name's Gary Heydrich. I've been an old guide for years in the Ozarks before I retired, and been in the outdoor business, worked for a big CBS station, WIBW, did some outdoor broadcasts. I was a guide out in Kansas for Walleye for many years, and been broadcasting for a long time. So that's me, and we have some fun coming your way. Let's go fishing. Well, that's right. Boy, we had a lot of viewers last week, and we'd like you to join our team. We want you to subscribe, and we've had a lot of subscribers this last week. We love you new subscribers, and if you would like to join our team, just push that button, subscribe, absolutely free. This way you'll never miss out in all the fun we have here on Fishing Chums. All right, we have some good fishing reports coming your way. My golly. Got a little allergy. No, I don't have a hangover. I didn't have enough to drink last night. But I do have some allergies, so bear with me. All right, I tell you what, we have some fun coming your way today because good photos and good fishing information. And like I said, the temperatures this weekend looks yummy, around 68, 70. We've got this to talk about, and nice winds and good fishing, I tell you what. Okay, let's go out to Beaver Lake. Cody, look at Cody here. Look at this photo. Cody was out crappie fishing the other day with 6-pound test and picked up some nice stripers. Look at these stripers. Good golly, Cody, that bent the old pole, didn't it? Congratulations. By the way, the water temperature out at Beaver this morning is 53 degrees, and they've been picking up some crappie at Beaver. The bass fishing's been pretty good. I've heard of kind of a red-colored crankbait, and they've been picking up some fish on swim baits and jerk baits. So that looks good for the upcoming weekend at Beaver. Good going, Cody. Wow, good fish. All right, let's go up to Table Rock. Going to be a beautiful weekend. And I want to say hi to all you folks that's going to be fishing that big bass tournament out at Table Rock this weekend. It's Kevin Van Dam's, the big bass tournament they have out of Long Creek at Bass Pro Marine. There'll be over 900 anglers out there fishing for the top prize. What happens Saturday and Sunday, you can fish Saturday or Sunday or both days, most people do. Whoever catches the largest bass, the biggest bass, the single biggest bass of the 2 days wins about a 50,000 completely rigged Bass Pro Nitro bass boat. Wow, just one lucky cast, that's all it's going to take. And every hour they give away a prize pool starting at $1,000 for the biggest fish of the hour, and the stair steps down. There's a lot of money going to be given away at Table Rock this weekend. Boy, good luck to you guys. By the way, the water temperature this morning when I started this report was 51 degrees at the Rock. Saturday it's going to be 69 degrees for a high, southeast winds at 12. Sunday it's going to be 70 degrees, about perfect. Southwest winds at 7. Ooh, I love that southwest wind. Man, there ought to be some big fish caught out at Table Rock for the upcoming weekend. Now, let's see. The bass fishing's been good. Gosh, you guys going out for that big tournament this weekend, you can use a variety of bait. I tell you what, early in the morning you have a little bit of wind, jerk baits on the point. Some of the bass are starting to stage out there, points, secondary points, and they've been picking up some fish on swim baits. And if with a little bit of wind, I tell you what, a crankbait is going to be good. A rock crawler, seems like something they went with red, and dragon jigs. When it gets tough, get out there and go down and fish the Ned rig that's been picking up some fish. And boy, it looks good. I think there's going to be some nice bass caught at Table Rock this upcoming weekend, really do. Speaking of Table Rock, they've been picking up some crappie at the upper end around that .15. where Flat Creek moves into the James River. They've been picking up some crappie. In fact, Norman Falls was out the other day. Look at these fish. Boy, that's a pair of nice crappie, Norman. My golly, beautiful, beautiful crappie. And so the crappie are biting out there somewhat. The white bass are moving up the river, up the James River, and they've been picking up some walleye up the James too. That water's a little stained, so put a little color to your jigs and your baits. And some people have been for the crappie using more minnows and jigs. And so that Flat Creek area, 0.15 on up the James, up the James, they're picking up some white bass on small crankbaits and some underspins, kind of like a Roadrunner type bait, and some grubs. And once in a while, somebody's picking up a big walleye up there as well. Speaking of walleye up the White River, they're still picking up some walleye up there as they have the last 3 or 4 weeks. Jerk baits have been good. Put a little color to it, like red. Yeah, that looks good. And they've been trolling. Oh, I love the flicker shad or flicker minnow this time of the year. Well, any time. They've been picking up some walleye on occasion by trolling these or casting them. And grubs. So that looks good for the upper White River. And the Kings River, we had some reports of crappie being caught there. And also they've been picking up some white bass and an occasional walleye in this area up around the Kings. So that looks good at Table Rock for the upcoming weekend. All right, let's go out at Lake Taneycomo. I like to call it Perrycomo. Hey, they've been running some 3 generators pretty well all week. They may shut that down a little bit for the weekend. But drift fishing's been good. They've been drift fishing, I tell you what, night crawlers or minnows. Power eggs, seems like the pink, orange or white's been working. And you know that Berkeley power worm, boy, that's been good. Pink's been good and white, so check this out. And they've been picking up some trout on a jerkbait once in a while. Hey, look at this nice fish coming out of Trout Hollow, our friends out at Trout Hollow. This beautiful trout caught out there a few days ago. Wow, good fish. So trout fishing looks good at Lake Taneycomo for the upcoming weekend. I tell you, a good area has been from Monkey Island on even past the landing. So check this area out. They're catching a lot of trout at times there. All right, let's go at Bull Shoals. Had a good report of some crappie being caught around the docks at the Bull. They've been picking up some fish, mainly on minnows. The water's a little off color. Been picking up some crappie around the docks, and also and had a report of just some brush piles as well. So check this out. And at the upper end of the White River at Bull Shoals, where I mentioned this last week, where the Power Site Dam is near Forsyth, where Bull Shoals actually starts, they have been picking up some nice walleye on occasion on swim baits and jerk baits. And some white bass are starting to show up there as well. So that may look good for the upcoming weekend. Some people on further down past the bridge are trolling and working, and some of those flats occasionally picking up a walleye as well. So Bull Shoals looks good, crappie, walleye this weekend. And the bass fishing's been, decent. I mentioned the last couple of weeks, this is the time of the year you really have a chance of catching a big quality bass at Bull Shoals. They're staging a little bit out there, starting to move, and they've been picking up some fish in the mouth of some of the creek areas and some of the big coves. And you can catch them on jerk baits, put a little color to it. Clown's always good out there this time of the year. If you have a little bit of wind, doesn't sound like a lot of wind this weekend, but if you can find a windy shore, rocky shore, go to just get like a rock crawler. And the wiggleworts are always good out there. Put a little color to them. And if it gets slow, get out there with a Ned rig, and I think you have a chance of picking up some nice fish. Don't overlook that jig as well. Drag that jig, cast that jig up in some of the brush. Bull Shoals looks pretty good this weekend. All right, let's go out to Stockton Lake this morning. It was 47 degrees surface temperature. This weekend looks good for Stockton and Pomme de Terre. Saturday is going to be 71 degrees. Southeast winds at 12. Sunday it's going to be near 70. And southwest winds at 9. I love that southwest wind. And Sarah and Jeremy was out the other day and picked up some nice walleye. Look at this, Sarah and Jeremy. Hey, nice fish. Good fishing couple. Love that. Good walleye out at Stockton. And speaking of Stockton and walleye, they've been picking up some fish at the lower end on some of the points. Nice walleye. There's been quite a few walleye caught out there this past few days. And they've been picking up some fish up the river. Look at Michael Williams. He was out the other day and picked up some crappie. And look at this big white bass Michael caught. My gosh, that's probably over 3 pounds. Good going, Michael. But up the Sac, they've been catching more fish this week in the last couple of weeks. And so that might be a good area to be for the upcoming weekend. Main Lake crappie fishing has been spotty. They've been picking up some fish in the mouth of the creeks, around some of the brush. A few fish are still crappie being caught around some of the bluffs and the docks out there, but they're starting to move more. I think they're starting to stage out there a little bit. So it hasn't been great. We get out there and check it this weekend. The walleye has really been good. Been catching some nice bass at Stockton as well. Jerk baits. They've been picking up some fish on wiggle warts with the wind and jigs. Might check this out. Pomme de Terre, the surface temperature out there this morning was 48 degrees. They had some good crappie fishing again this week out there around the docks. Seems like a float and minnow, about 3 or 4 feet, put a minnow down below that float and flip it around to some of the docks. They're picking up fish. And so nice crappie have been caught out at Pomme de Terre this week for the few people that's been fishing for them. Don't overlook this. Hey, I understand the bass fishing is really picking up at Pomme de Terre as well. Swim baits have been working, of course, jerk baits and slow roll and spinner baits. So check this out. Okay, at Truman, the water temperature this morning was 47 degrees. And they've been picking up some fish out there. I tell you, look at Justin Gage and his son. He was out at Bucksaw the other day, just a couple of days ago, and picked up these nice crappie. I think they had around 14 beautiful crappie. That's what I love about Bucksaw. I used to work for Bucksaw years ago. I was their PR director back in the early 90s with John Magnum. Had a lot of fun out there. But Bucksaw always allows people to fish around their docks. And God, golly, that's a nice thing to do. And so Justin and his son, tip of the hat to you. Nice fish. And I tell you what, they've been picking up some crappie out on the main lake. Now, the upper end's still kind of dirty, of course. Lower end's not too bad. They've been picking up some fish on minnows mainly in the mouth of some of the creeks, and even still getting reports of some crappie being caught around some of the bluffs. Just look at your depth finder. And they are catching some crappie out on the main lake. Lower 1/3 is what I'd recommend. And like I said, that water temperature this morning is 47 degrees. Boy, they're still picking up some nice fish below the dam. They've been running quite a bit of water all week below the dam. And they've been picking up walleye. This is from the Truman Rock Rats. Boy, I love that group. And they've been picking up some really nice walleye. Another 10-pounder was caught a couple days ago out there. And so that's below the dam. They've been picking up occasional nice walleye, white bass, hybrids, crappie. Good place maybe to be this upcoming weekend. That's below the dam at Truman. And let's see, let's go to Lake of the Ozarks, 45 degrees this morning. And they've been picking up some really nice crappie out the Lake of the Ozarks. They're fishing the docks and using a float and minnow combination for the most part. And there's been some really nice crappie caught at Lake of the Ozarks. So check the docks out. And they have been, hey, they had pretty good bass fishing out there. In fact, they had a bass tournament out at Lake of the Ozarks last week. A lot of people fished it, and some really nice bass was caught. Jerk baits, swim baits, rock crawlers, wiggle warts, and they've been picking up some fish out there on jigs as well. Lake, let's go out to Norfork, 53 degrees, a little warmer there south. Not too much to report this week. They've been picking up some stripers back in the big creek areas and big coves on occasion. And white bass are moving a little bit. And they have been picking up some crappie. The crappie fishing is starting to pick up out there. So check that out for the upcoming weekend. And we want to thank you very much for being with us. Brandon has some more photos coming your way, so don't go anywhere. We want to thank you very much for being with us. Be sure to like and share. And I tell you what, be sure to subscribe. That helps us out a little bit. And if you'd have some photos, we've been getting a lot of photos, send it to our email. Email us at fishingchums@gmail.com. That will get it to us. And speaking of photos, Brandon, roll them. God bless you all. Check you next week right here on the Big Little Show.